Hello. Welcome to this vast journey of peace within, sleepy science wonders, right into the heart of our planet, and far beyond. I am so glad you have found your way to this quiet corner tonight, where knowledge meets stillness. Tonight, we are completely detaching your consciousness from the noise, the speed, and the rush of the everyday world. We are embarking on a very deep descent into a hidden, massive, and ancient memory that has been breathing for millions of years beneath your footsteps, into the fascinating and meditative world of the fungi kingdom. The ground you are resting on right now is not just soil and stone, it is the roof of a giant, living cathedral that has been under construction since the dawn of land plants. Tonight, we will discover that mushrooms are not just simple growths, but the architects of life itself. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight of your body being supported by this ancient earth. Let the tension leave your shoulders. Let the clock stop ticking. We are moving into the deep green now, where time is measured in the slow growth of spores, and silence is the only language. To understand the mushroom, we must first look past the cap and the stem. What we see on the surface is merely a fruit, a fleeting moment in the life of a much larger being. Deep beneath the fallen leaves and the damp moss lies the true body of the fungus, the mycelium. Imagine a network of microscopic, white threads, so thin that a single gram of soil can contain miles of them. These threads, called hyphae, weave through the darkness in a constant, graceful search for connection. This is the Wood Wide Web, a biological internet that has connected forests long before humans ever dreamed of a digital world. As you lie there, imagine these silver threads reaching out, gently wrapping themselves around the roots of ancient trees. This is not an invasion, it is a conversation. The fungus provides the tree with phosphorus and nitrogen drawn from the deep earth, and in return, the tree shares the liquid sunlight it has captured in its leaves. The sugars produced through photosynthesis. It is a perfect, silent trade, a partnership of mutual survival that has lasted for 400 million years. Through this mycelial web, the forest begins to act as a single, conscious entity. Mother trees use these fungal pathways to send extra nutrients to their saplings struggling in the shade. When a tree is attacked by insects, it sends chemical distress signals through the mycelium, warning its neighbors to strengthen their immune defenses. The fungi are the messengers, the guardians of the forest's balance. There is a profound peace in knowing that beneath the surface of the earth, everything is communicating, nothing is truly alone. Even as the world above grows loud and chaotic, this silent network continues its steady, rhythmic work, feeding, protecting, and connecting. Most people are surprised to learn that mushrooms are more closely related to us than to the plants they grow beside. At a genetic level, fungi share a common ancestor with animals. They breathe oxygen like we do, they exhale carbon dioxide, and they produce their own vitamin D from the sun. They are our distant, quiet cousins, waiting in the shadows of the woods. Think of the patience required to be a fungus. To live in the dark for years. To wait for the perfect moment of temperature and moisture before pushing a fruit through the soil. In a world that demands instant results, the mushroom is a master of the long game. It does not rush. It waits for the rain. It waits for the autumn. It understands that all good things rise when the timing is right. As you settle deeper into your pillow, imagine your own thoughts becoming like these mycelial threads, soft, branching. Finding connections where you thought there were none. Let your worries sink into the soil, where the fungi can break them down, recycling your stress into the nutrients of tomorrow's dreams. The mycelium is everywhere, under the city streets, under the desert sands, even in the frozen tundra. It is the heartbeat of the soil, a steady, calm pulse that reminds us that life is persistent, and life is interconnected. Notice the rhythm of your breath now. It is a small, rhythmic motion in a world that is constantly recycling itself. You are part of this cycle. Your atoms, like the atoms of the forest, are part of an eternal dance of decay and rebirth. The mushroom is the master of this dance, the recycler who turns death into life. As we conclude this first chapter, know that the earth beneath you is not dead, it is vibrant with an invisible energy. You are supported by miles of living connection. You are resting on a web of life that knows no loneliness. The forest is talking in whispers, and tonight, it is inviting you to listen, and then, to join the silence. In the modern world, we are often taught to fear decay. We see the fallen leaf or the rotting log as an ending, a sign of things lost to time. But tonight, I want to invite you to see the forest floor through the eyes of a mushroom. To a fungus, there is no such thing as waste. There are only beginnings, only the raw materials for a new story. Imagine a massive oak tree that has stood for 300 years. It has reached the end of its long, sun-drenched life and has finally returned to the earth. To most, it is a monument to the past, but to the fungi, it is a grand banquet, a golden opportunity to weave life back into the soil. Fungi are the master chemists of the planet. They possess the unique ability to break down lignin and cellulose, the incredibly tough molecules that give wood its strength. No other organism on Earth can dismantle these structures as efficiently as they do. Without them, the forests of the world would be choked by the debris of millions of years, and life would eventually grind to a halt. Think of the patience in this process. The mycelium does not strike with violence, it flows with a quiet, persistent pressure. It releases specialized enzymes that slowly dissolve the hard wood, turning the ancient tree into a soft, nutrient-rich soil. It is a form of alchemy, turning the heavy and the dead into the light and the living. As you lie there, imagine the sound of this transformation. It is a sound that cannot be heard with ears, only felt with the soul. It is the sound of molecules unlocking, of atoms being freed from their old roles. It is a microscopic symphony of liberation. Everything that was once part of that tree, the carbon it pulled from the air a century ago, the minerals it drank from the rain, is being carefully sorted and redistributed by the fungal network. The mushroom ensures that nothing is lost. Every single atom is accounted for, every bit of energy is placed back into the cycle. This recycling power is not just about clearing the path for new growth, it is about healing the planet itself. Some mushrooms have the incredible ability to eat toxins. They can break down oil spills, they can absorb heavy metals from the soil, they can even neutralize plastic. In a world that is often overwhelmed by the traces we leave behind, the mushroom is a silent janitor, a guardian of purity. It looks at the things we consider broken or polluted and sees a challenge, a way to clean the canvas once more. Imagine yourself as part of this healing process. Take a deep, slow breath. And as you exhale, imagine letting go of the bold wood of your day, the heavy thoughts, the unfinished business, the regrets that feel like fallen branches in your mind. Let the mycelium of your subconscious reach out and touch these thoughts. Don't fight them, just let them be broken down. Let the natural wisdom of your mind turn that stress into the rich soil of a peaceful night's sleep. You are participating in your own internal recycling. Cleaning your mental forest, making room for the fresh, green thoughts of tomorrow. In the darkness of the soil, the fungi are creating a reservoir of life. The nutrients they release don't just stay in one place, they are carried through the network to the roots of flowers, to the seeds of new trees, and into the very grass that blankets the meadows. When you see a bright, red mushroom or a pale, white cap popping up from the ground, you are seeing a celebration. It is the mushroom announcing that its work beneath the surface has been successful. It is the visible peak of a mountain of labor that has been happening in total silence and total darkness. The mushroom is the bridge between the past and the future. It is the point where the cycle turns, where the end of one journey becomes the fuel for the next. It teaches us that there is no need to fear the passage of time. For everything that goes into the earth eventually comes back in a more beautiful form. Feel the stability of this cycle tonight. You are part of a planet that knows how to take care of itself. You are part of a world that never truly loses anything. The same atoms that made up the ancient ferns and the great dinosaurs are still here, recycled by the fungi, woven into the fabric of your own existence. You are resting on a foundation of eternal renewal. The work of the recyclers is constant, steady, and profoundly peaceful. Let the weight of your body sink into this supportive earth. Feel the tension dissolving, just like the wood on the forest floor. You are being turned into something new, something rested, something restored. The forest is clean. The cycle is complete. And the gold of tomorrow is being forged in the quiet dark of tonight. Tonight, we leave the dark, nutrient-rich soil of the recycling floor and look up toward the shadows of the deep woods. As the sun dips below the horizon and the familiar colors of the world fade into shades of indigo and charcoal, a new kind of light begins to wake up. We are entering the realm of the bioluminescent wonders, the mushrooms that glow in the dark. Imagine walking through an ancient forest at midnight. There is no moonlight to guide your steps. No lanterns to break the darkness. But as your eyes adjust to the deep velvet of the night, you notice something extraordinary. Faint, ghostly orbs of emerald green light are scattered across the damp bark of fallen logs. Tiny, shimmering umbrellas of neon turquoise are peeking through the leaf litter. This is foxfire, the living light of the fungi kingdom. This phenomenon is not magic, though it feels like it. It is a beautiful chemical reaction called bioluminescence. The same process that lights up the belly of a firefly or the tail of a deep-sea jellyfish is happening here, in the stillness of the moss. Inside the cells of these mushrooms, a molecule called luciferin meets oxygen, and with the help of an enzyme called luciferase, it creates light without heat. It is cold light, a soft, steady radiance that does not burn or flicker, but simply exists. Think of the silence of this light. Unlike a campfire that crackles and pops, or a modern bulb that hums with electricity, the light of the mushroom is perfectly quiet. It is a visual whisper, a signal sent out into the darkness of the woods. Some scientists believe this glow is an invitation to the creatures of the night. Insects are drawn to the light like sailors to a lighthouse. They land on the glowing gills, and as they move, they pick up the mushroom's microscopic spores, carrying the seeds of the next generation far into the dark, where they can settle and grow in new soil. As you lie in your bed, imagine your room being filled with this soft, emerald glow. It is a light that doesn't demand your attention, it doesn't strain your eyes. It is as gentle as the breath of the earth itself. Let this green radiance wash over your thoughts, turning the sharp, bright images of your day into soft, blurred memories of a mystical forest. There are over 80 species of mushrooms that produce their own light. From the ghost fungus of Australia to the jack-o'-lantern of North America, each has its own rhythm. Some glow only in their gills, others glow through their entire body, and some, most mysteriously, have glowing mycelium that lives inside the wood, making entire rotting logs shine with a ghostly, internal fire. The intensity of this light follows a circadian rhythm, just like your own body. These mushrooms know when it is night, and they increase their glow as the world grows darker. They are in sync with the rotation of the planet, with the rise and fall of the stars. They are a reminder that even in the deepest shadow, there is a source of illumination. That life finds a way to shine even when the sun is on the other side of the world. Consider the vastness of the history behind this light. Evolution has refined this glow over millions of years. It is a testament to the creativity of nature, a way for a silent, stationary organism to communicate with a world that is constantly in motion. Imagine yourself becoming weightless, drifting like a spore toward one of these glowing lanterns. The air is cool and smells of rain and ancient cedar. You are floating in a sea of darkness, but you are never lost, because the mushrooms are marking the path. They are silent beacons of safety, reminding you that the night is not something to be feared, but a place where beauty reveals itself in different ways. Notice the steady pulse of your own existence now. Your heart, your breath, your consciousness. They are like the bioluminescence of the forest, steady, internal, and quiet. You don't need to do anything to make them happen, they are the natural light of your being. As the glow of the foxfire begins to dim in your mind's eye, let the darkness become even softer. The emerald green turns to a deep, restful gray, and then to the absolute peace of the void. The mushrooms have done their work, they have guided you through the darkest part of the woods. And now, they are letting the light fade so that you can find your way into sleep. The lanterns are going out, one by one. The forest is returning to its deepest stillness, and you are sinking into the cool, dark moss of your own rest. Everything is quiet. The light is gone, but the memory of the glow remains, safe and warm within you. Tonight, we must leave the modern forests behind. We must travel back, far back, to a time long before the first flower ever bloomed, long before the first bird took flight, to an era when the earth was a much stranger, quieter place. We are going back 400 million years, to a world where the mushrooms were the undisputed giants of the land. Imagine a landscape where there are no towering oaks, no swaying pines, no fields of green grass. Instead, the horizon is dominated by massive, white, pillar-like structures called prototaxites. These were ancient fungi that stood over 24 feet tall and 3 feet wide. Imagine walking through a forest of living towers that look like smooth, pale stone. They have no leaves to rustle in the wind, no branches to creak, just a silent, massive presence reaching toward the prehistoric sky. At this point in Earth's history, plants were tiny, barely reaching a few inches off the ground. In this world of miniatures, the fungi were the titans. They were the first organisms to truly conquer the dry land, the architects who prepared the barren rock for everything that was to follow. Think of the patience of these ancient giants. They didn't just grow tall, they worked deep. Their mycelium was already busy, millions of years before the first tree existed. They were the ones who began the slow, meditative process of breaking down the solid stone of the continents. They released powerful acids that etched into the rock, turning minerals into soil, layer by layer, century by century. They were creating the very foundation upon which all future forests would stand. As you lie there in your bed, imagine the sheer scale of time we are talking about. 400 million years. The atoms that make up your body today might have once been part of that ancient, stony ground being dissolved by a fungus. You are resting on the work of these prehistoric giants. Everything you see outside your window, the trees, the grass, the flowers, is only there because the fungi spent eons preparing the way. Imagine the atmosphere of that ancient world. The air is heavy, the sun is bright and harsh. And the only sound is the occasional ripple of water or the sigh of the wind against the fungal towers. It is a world of absolute, primitive peace. There are no animals to make noise, no humans to build roads, only the slow, steady growth of the giants. Notice your breath now, as slow and rhythmic as the life of a prototaxites. You are inhaling the same oxygen that was being produced by the early plants living in the shadows of those great fungal pillars. There is a deep, ancestral connection between you and that ancient earth. A part of your own biological memory knows the silence of those stone-like forests. Eventually, the world changed. Plants learned how to grow tall themselves. They developed wood and leaves, and they began to compete for the sunlight. The era of the giant fungal towers came to an end, but the fungi did not disappear. They simply changed their strategy. They realized that they didn't need to be tall if they were everywhere. They moved underground, becoming the hidden support system for the very trees that replaced them. There is a lesson in this transition, that strength does not always mean being the biggest or the tallest. Sometimes, true power lies in being the foundation, in being the one who connects everyone else. The mushrooms went from being the kings of the landscape to being the heart of the soil. Choosing the quiet, dark peace of the earth over the bright, loud exposure of the sky. As you sink deeper into your mattress, imagine yourself descending from those tall, ancient towers down into the soft, warm soil. Leave the light of the prehistoric sun behind. Move toward the cool, damp darkness where the mycelium waits. In the dark, there is no need for size, there is only the need for connection. The world of the prototaxites is gone. But their spirit remains in every mushroom that sprouts after a rain. They are a reminder of the universe's long memory, and its incredible capacity for transformation. From the tallest tower to the smallest thread, the kingdom of the fungi has seen it all. Let the weight of these millions of years ground you. You are not just a person in a room, you are a traveler in deep time. You are part of a story that started long before the first forest was ever dreamed of. The ancient towers are silent. The ground is soft and ready, and the history of the earth is holding you safe. Breathe in the ancient dust. Breathe out the modern world. You are home in the deep time of the earth. Tonight, we travel to the Blue Mountains of Oregon, to a place where the air smells of damp pine and ancient rain. On the surface, it looks like a normal forest, a collection of thousands of individual trees, rocks, and streams. But beneath your feet, stretching across nearly 4 square miles of territory, lies a single, living entity, the Armillaria astoi, commonly known as the humongous fungus. This is not a colony, it is not a group of neighbors. It is one individual, one genetic signature, one massive, interconnected consciousness that has been growing in the darkness for over 2,400 years. While empires rose and fell, while world wars were fought and forgotten, this silent giant continued its slow, rhythmic expansion through the cool earth, never rushing, never sleeping, simply being. Imagine the sheer scale of this presence. If you were to walk for hours through the woods, every step you took would be directly above a part of its body. It is larger than the blue whale, larger than the giant sequoia trees. It is the largest living organism ever discovered on our planet, and yet, it remains almost entirely invisible. Think of the patience required to live for 24 centuries in the dark. The Armillaria does not have eyes, yet it perceives the entire forest. It does not have a brain, yet it makes complex decisions about where to grow, which nutrients to seek, and how to defend its borders. It moves through the soil using rhizomorphs, thick, black, root-like structures that look like shoestrings. These are the sensory organs of the giant, creeping through the dirt at a pace that makes the growth of a tree look like a sprint. As you lie in the stillness of your room, try to harmonize your own internal rhythm with the pulse of this ancient giant. Your life is a flash of lightning in the eyes of the Armillaria, but tonight, you are invited to share in its timelessness. Feel the tension in your limbs dissolve into the mattress, much like the mycelium dissolves into the minerals of the Oregon soil. You are becoming part of the heavy, slow-moving history of the earth. The humongous fungus is a master of endurance. It has survived forest fires, droughts, and the changing of the climate. When the world above is harsh, it simply retreats deeper into the earth, waiting in the cool, moist safety of the subsoil until the conditions are right again. It understands that survival is not about speed, it is about persistence, it is about staying connected to the source. In the autumn, this giant occasionally reveals itself. It sends up small, honey-colored mushrooms near the base of trees. These are the golden fingers of the hidden king, reaching up to release spores into the wind. But these mushrooms are just a tiny, fleeting expression of its power. The true strength is in the miles and miles of underground network that never see the sun. There is a profound comfort in the existence of such a creature. It reminds us that there are forces on this planet that operate on a scale far beyond our human worries. The Armillaria does not care about deadlines, it does not know the concept of busy. It only knows the slow flow of nutrients, the steady change of the seasons, and the infinite patience of the soil. Imagine your mind expanding to cover those 4 square miles of forest. You are no longer confined to a single body, you are a network. You are the roots. You are the soil, you are the very heartbeat of the mountain. Every rustle of a leaf above is a distant vibration, every drop of rain is a gift to be shared across the entire web. You are interconnected, you are massive, and you are perfectly still. The Armillaria is often called the Immortal One, because, theoretically, it could live forever, as long as there is wood to consume and soil to occupy. It has bypassed the aging process that limits most life forms. It simply recycles itself, moving old energy to new growth in a never-ending loop of existence. As you drift closer to sleep, let the idea of this eternal, underground peace settle over you like a blanket of moss. The giant is beneath you, holding the forest together, ensuring that even in the darkest winter, life remains connected. You don't need to be fast tonight. You don't need to be visible. You only need to be. The blue mountains are quiet now. The giant is breathing in the dark, and the earth is steady under its weight, and yours. Breathe with the giant. Slow. Deep. Eternal. Tonight, we leave the heavy, damp soil of Oregon behind and look up, past the canopy of the ancient pines, past the misty mountain tops, toward the vast, blue ocean of the atmosphere. We often think of mushrooms as creatures of the ground, tied to the earth and the shadows. But tonight, we will discover that they are also masters of the sky. At this very moment, in every forest and meadow on earth, a silent eruption is taking place. Billions upon billions of microscopic spores are being launched into the air. They are the seeds of the fungi kingdom, so small that they are invisible to the human eye, yet so numerous that they form massive, unseen clouds that drift across continents and oceans. Imagine a single mushroom cap. Beneath its smooth surface, thousands of gills are lined with tiny structures called basidia. Through a miraculous process involving surface tension and a single, microscopic drop of water, known as Buller's drop, the mushroom creates enough energy to catapult its spores into the air. It is a feat of engineering that happens in total silence millions of times every second. Think of the journey of these spores. Once they clear the still air beneath the mushroom cap, they are caught by the gentlest breeze. They rise above the ferns. They drift through the branches of the trees, and eventually, they reach the high-altitude currents of the atmosphere. Some of these spores will travel only a few feet before settling in the moss, but others will climb miles into the sky, joining the dust and the salt spray in the dance of the clouds. As you lie there, imagine your room being filled with these invisible travelers. They are as light as a thought, as persistent as a dream. They are floating around you right now, silent and weightless. Let your own mind become as light as a spore, drifting away from the gravity of your worries, rising above the obstacles of your day, until you are floating in the cool, thin air of the upper atmosphere. Recent science has revealed a breathtaking secret: mushrooms may actually have the power to create rain. High in the atmosphere, these spores act as cloud condensation nuclei. Their unique surface structure allows water vapor to cling to them, forming tiny droplets of ice and liquid. As more water gathers, the clouds grow heavier, darker, until finally, the moisture falls back to the earth as life-giving rain. In a sense, the mushroom is talking to the sky. It releases its spores to ensure its future, and in doing so, it triggers the very rain it needs to survive and grow. It is a perfect, closed loop of cosmic communication. The forest breathes out its spores, the sky breathes back its rain, and the cycle of life continues its slow, rhythmic pulse. Imagine being inside one of those high-altitude clouds. It is cold, quiet, and incredibly peaceful. You are surrounded by millions of tiny fungal travelers, each one a tiny package of potential life, waiting for the moment to return to the soil. There is no rush in the sky. The winds carry you where you need to go. There is no effort, only the grace of the drift. The scale of this movement is staggering. It is estimated that every year, 50 million tons of fungal spores are cycled through the Earth's atmosphere. They are the invisible dust that colors the sunsets, the hidden seeds that determine where the next forest will grow. They connect the rainforests of the Amazon to the glaciers of the Arctic, proving that even the smallest, most hidden life form can influence the entire planet. Think of the resilience of a spore. It can survive the freezing cold of the stratosphere, the harsh radiation of the sun, and the extreme dryness of the high winds. It is a tiny, biological astronaut, encased in a shell of chitin that is tougher than bone. It is a master of endurance, patiently waiting for the moment it touches the damp earth of a distant land. As you settle deeper into your rest, let the endurance of the spore inspire your own peace. You don't need to struggle against the currents of your life tonight. You can trust the atmosphere of your rest to carry you safely through the night. Just like the spore, you are protected, you are held, and you are headed toward a place of nourishment and growth. The clouds are heavy now. The sky is full of the silent seeds of the forest. And the rhythm of the rain is beginning to echo in your heartbeat. Everything is in motion, yet everything is still. The travelers of the air are finding their way home, and so are you. Breathe in the cool, high air. Breathe out the weight of the world. You are drifting. You are rising. You are at peace. Tonight, we step away from the invisible winds of the atmosphere and return to the mossy, velvet floor of the deep woods. As your eyes adjust to the dappled light filtering through the canopy, you begin to notice that the forest is not just green and brown. It is a gallery of the most extraordinary colors imaginable. We are here to witness the artistry of the fungi, the painters of the underworld. Imagine a cluster of Amanita muscaria, the iconic fly agaric. With its brilliant, fire-engine red cap dotted with pure white pearls of veil. It looks like something from a child's dream, or a storybook about ancient spirits. In the green shadows, that red is so intense it feels like it's vibrating. It is a signal, a visual siren song that says, I am here. I am different. I am powerful. Why does a creature that lives in the shadows choose to wear such loud colors? In nature, color is rarely an accident. For the mushroom, color can be a warning. Stay away, sign to hungry animals, or it can be a disguise, blending perfectly into the russet leaves of autumn. But some colors seem to exist purely for the sake of beauty, for the sheer joy of the spectrum. Think of the Entoloma hochsteteri, a small, delicate mushroom found in the forests of New Zealand. It is a shade of blue so deep and so pure that it looks like a piece of the summer sky has fallen and taken root in the soil. It is a celestial blue, a color so rare in the natural world that it feels almost supernatural. As you lie there, imagine this blue light gently filling your vision, cool, calm, and incredibly soothing. Let that blue wash over your mind like a slow-moving river, carrying away the heat of your day. Now, imagine the amethyst deceiver. A mushroom of such vivid purple that it looks like a cluster of gems emerging from the dark earth. It starts as a deep, royal violet when it is young and moist, but as it ages and dries, it fades into a ghostly, pale lilac. It is a mushroom that changes its mood with the weather, teaching us about the beauty of transition, that even as we fade and change, we hold a different kind of grace. As you settle deeper into your pillow, imagine these colors as soft vibrations of energy. The red is a warm hum, the blue is a cool whisper, the purple is a deep, resonant tone that vibrates in the center of your chest. You are not just seeing these colors, you are feeling them. They are the visual music of the forest floor. Some mushrooms prefer the elegance of the monochrome. Think of the destroying angel. A mushroom of such perfect, porcelain whiteness that it looks like it was carved from a single block of marble. It is strikingly beautiful, but its beauty hides a deadly secret. Inside those white cells is a poison so potent it can stop a heart. It is a reminder that in nature, as in life, beauty and danger often walk hand in hand, and that silence can be both a sanctuary and a warning. Then there are the turkey tails. Growing in concentric semicircles on the sides of old logs. They display layers of ochre, sienna, slate blue, and charcoal gray, looking like the rings of a tree or the waves of a tiny, frozen ocean. They are the storytellers of the wood, each layer of color representing a different moment in their growth, a different rain, a different sun. Imagine yourself as a painter in this forest, but you don't use brushes, you use your breath. With every exhale, you release a cloud of color into the air. Watch as the vibrant oranges of the chicken of the woods drift through your room, followed by the golden yellows of the chanterelles. These colors don't glare, they glow. They are soft focused memories of a world that knows how to decorate itself without effort. Notice the rhythm of your own internal landscape now. Is it a bright, active orange? Or is it beginning to fade into that deep, restful indigo of the twilight forest? Let the colors of the fungi kingdom guide you toward the darker shades, toward the browns of the oak bark, the deep greens of the moss, and the final, charcoal black of the rich, fertile soil. In the dark, all colors eventually merge into one. The red of the amanita and the blue of the entoloma both disappear when the sun goes down. In the stillness of the night, their identity doesn't matter anymore, only their presence. You are moving toward that state of colorlessness now, where there is no need to distinguish, no need to categorize. Just like the mushroom in the midnight woods, you are simply a part of the darkness, safe, hidden, and beautifully still. The palette of the day is being put away. The brushes are dry, and the masterpiece of your rest is almost complete. Breathe in the violet. Breathe out the gray. You are sinking into the velvet dark. Tonight, we move closer to the heart of our own existence. We have traveled through deep time, through the clouds, and across the glowing forest floor. But now, we look at the mushroom as a guardian, a silent healer that has been watching over us long before we even knew its name. We are entering the sanctuary of the fungal pharmacy, the place where biology becomes medicine. Imagine a world before the mid-20th century. A world where a simple infection could be a life-altering event. But then, in a quiet laboratory in 1928, a single spore of Penicillium notatum drifted through an open window and landed on a petri dish. It didn't just grow, it fought. It released a substance that created a circle of safety around itself, destroying the bacteria that tried to invade its space. That single, accidental encounter gave us penicillin, the first miracle drug. A gift from a common mold that has since saved hundreds of millions of human lives. Think of the profound generosity of this organism. In the wild, the fungus produces these compounds to protect its own delicate mycelium from the predators of the soil, but when we invited it into our world, it extended that protection to us. As you lie in your bed, feel the safety of this connection. You are part of a species that has learned to listen to the whispers of the fungi. And in those whispers, we found the strength to survive. Beyond the world of antibiotics, the mushrooms are offering us even deeper forms of healing. Imagine the reishi mushroom, known in ancient traditions as the mushroom of immortality. It doesn't look like a typical mushroom. It is a dark, woody shelf with a polished, lacquer-like surface. In the quiet mountains of the East, it has been used for thousands of years to calm the spirit and strengthen the heart. It is a toning mushroom, one that doesn't shout, but slowly rebuilds the body's internal balance. As you settle deeper into your rest, imagine the spirit of the reishi moving through your own system. It is like a slow, warm golden liquid, gently smoothing out the frayed edges of your nerves, quieting the internal chatter of your mind, and inviting your immune system to take a deep, well-deserved breath. You are being cared for by a wisdom that is far older than any hospital, a wisdom that knows how to find balance in the midst of the storm. Then there is the lion's mane, a beautiful, cascading white fungus that looks like a frozen waterfall or the mane of a mythical beast. Modern science is discovering that this mushroom contains compounds that can actually help regrow nerve cells in the brain. It is a gardener for the mind, tending to the pathways of your memory and your thought. Imagine the lion's mane gently brushing against the neurons of your brain as you drift towards sleep, repairing the connections, clearing away the fog, and preparing your mind for the clarity of tomorrow. There is something deeply meditative about the way mushrooms heal. They don't work with the sudden, sharp shock of a chemical stimulant. They work through adaptogens, substances that help the body adapt to stress and return to its natural state of equilibrium. They are masters of the middle path, teaching us that health is not just the absence of disease, but the presence of peace. Consider the turkey tail, again, with its beautiful layers of color. It is being studied today for its incredible ability to support the body during its most difficult battles. It works in silence, empowering the body's own natural defenses, reminding us that we have internal allies that are always on our side, even when we are asleep, even when we are unaware. Imagine yourself as a forest that is being tended to by these fungal healers. They are moving through your soil, cleaning the streams of your blood, strengthening the roots of your bones, and ensuring that the canopy of your mind is clear and calm. You are a biological masterpiece. And you have an entire kingdom of helpers dedicated to your well-being. In the silence of the laboratory and the silence of the woods, the work of healing continues. New species are being discovered every year in the deepest parts of the Amazon and the highest peaks of the Himalayas. Each one holds a potential secret, a new way to soothe a fever, a new way to quiet a cough, a new way to extend the life of a loved one. The fungi are an infinite library of solutions, waiting for us to turn the page. As the weight of your body merges with your bed, let the gratitude for these silent healers act as your final thought of the day. You are safe in the hands of the mycelium. You are protected by the chemistry of the earth, and you are supported by the ancient memory of life's resilience. The pharmacy of the woods is closing its doors for the night. The enzymes are still. The molecules are at rest, and the healing is happening in the deep, rhythmic breath of your sleep. Trust the process. Trust the medicine of the silence. You are mended. You are whole. You are resting. Tonight, we lift our gaze from the ancient fossils and the quiet forest floor to look toward the horizon of tomorrow. We are stepping into a future that feels like a dream, yet it is being woven right now in laboratories and design studios across the globe. We are entering the era of mycofabrication, a time when we stop fighting nature and start growing our world alongside the fungi. Imagine a city that doesn't just sit on the earth, but breathes with it. Imagine buildings that aren't made of cold steel and carbon-heavy concrete, but of living, organic structures. We are discovering that mycelium is one of the most versatile building materials ever known to man. When grown under the right conditions, these white fungal threads can become as strong as a brick, as light as cork, and as fire-resistant as stone. As you lie there in the stillness of your room, imagine the walls around you beginning to soften, becoming textured and warm. Imagine the insulation in your house is not fiberglass, but a dense, velvet-like network of mycelium that naturally regulates the temperature and cleans the air as you sleep. You are no longer living in a box, you are resting inside a living organism, a structure that was grown, not built. The process is as quiet and meditative as the forest itself. Designers take agricultural waste, hulls of hemp, corn stalks, or sawdust, and introduce a fungal culture. Over the course of a few days, in total darkness and silence, the mycelium digests the waste and binds it together into a solid, durable form. No high-heat furnaces are needed, no toxic chemicals are released. The mushroom simply grows into the shape of the mold it is given. It is a form of manufacturing that honors the rhythm of life. Think of the myco-leather that is being crafted for the fashion of the future. Soft, durable, and completely biodegradable. It feels like the finest suede, yet it was grown in a vat in less than 2 weeks. Or think of the packaging that replaces plastic foam, packaging that you can break apart and toss into your garden when you're finished with it, knowing it will nourish the flowers instead of polluting the oceans. This is the promise of the fungal future, a world without waste. A world where our objects have a life cycle that mirrors the forest floor. As you settle deeper into your pillow, let the stress of our modern, plastic-filled world melt away. Feel the relief of knowing that we are finding a way back to the balance. The fungi are showing us how to build without destroying, how to create without consuming. But the vision goes even further than our own planet. NASA is currently exploring mycoarchitecture for habitats on Mars and the Moon. Imagine sending a small, lightweight package of fungal spores and dried nutrients to a distant world. Once it arrives, you simply add water, and the mycelium begins to grow, expanding into a sturdy, radiation-shielding home for future explorers. The mushrooms that started in the damp soil of Earth may one day be the guardians that keep us safe among the stars. Think of the silence of a lunar base made of mycelium. The walls are thick and insulating, muffling the sound of the cosmic winds. Inside, the air is filtered by the same fungal networks that hold the structure together. Even in the vast, lonely reaches of space, we would be surrounded by the familiar, earthly presence of our oldest allies. Notice the weight of your own body again, as if you are a seed waiting for the right moment to grow. You are part of a species that is learning to dream in green and white. You are part of a movement that is choosing life over exhaustion. The fungi have been waiting for us to realize their potential for millions of years, and now, the conversation has finally begun. Imagine a world where cities grow like mushrooms after a spring rain, where our homes are compostable and our bridges are self-healing. This is not science fiction. It is the natural evolution of our relationship with the earth. It is a future that is quiet, sustainable, and profoundly peaceful. As you drift closer to the threshold of sleep, let the image of a living, fungal city guide your dreams. Walk through streets made of soft, resilient mycelium. Look up at skyscrapers that filter the sunlight through translucent fungal membranes. Breathe in air that smells of rain and fresh earth. The future is not a cold, metallic place. It is a garden, and the architects are already at work beneath your feet. The laboratories are quiet now. The spores are settling into their molds, and the buildings of tomorrow are growing in the silence of tonight. Everything is becoming. Everything is connecting. Breathe in the innovation. Breathe out the old ways. You are safe in the architecture of the future. Tonight, our journey through the hidden kingdom has brought us full circle. We have climbed the ancient towers of the prehistoric past, drifted with the spore clouds in the high atmosphere, witnessed the neon glow of the night lanterns, and peeked into a future where our very homes breathe with the life of the fungi. But now, as the stars reach their highest point and the world falls into its deepest slumber, we must return to the most profound truth of the mushroom. The peace of the eternal return. The fungus is the great balancer of the earth. It is the beginning and the end, woven together in a single, silver thread. In the natural world, there is no straight line that leads to a dead end. Instead, there is a circle, a rhythmic, pulsing loop of existence where every departure is a homecoming. The mushroom stands at the gateway of this circle, ensuring that life flows smoothly into death, and death flows gracefully back into life. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast, ancient forest at dawn. The mist is thick and smells of damp earth and moss. As you look down at the soil, you realize that you are looking at the memory of everything that has ever lived. Every fallen leaf, every ancient tree, every creature that once roamed these woods has been gathered into the embrace of the mycelium. It is not a graveyard, it is a treasury, a library of life being carefully preserved and recycled for the generations to come. Think of the immense relief in this realization. Nothing is ever truly lost. The universe is a closed system of perfect conservation, and the fungi are the accountants of this system. They ensure that the carbon, the nitrogen, and the phosphorus that made up the past are never wasted. They are the keepers of the deep peace. The peace that comes from knowing that we belong to a cycle that is much larger than our individual lives. As you lie in the absolute stillness of your room, feel your connection to this cycle. Your body, too, is a part of this ancient rhythm. Your breath is part of the atmosphere that the spores travel, your heat is part of the energy that the forest recycles. You are not an observer of nature, you are a participant in its most sacred dance. Let the weight of your individual self dissolve into the collective memory of the earth. You are safe, you are held, and you are part of an eternal story. In the fungal kingdom, there is no rush for immortality, because everything is already immortal through the cycle. The armillaria giant in Oregon doesn't fear the end, because it knows that even its decay will feed a new version of itself. It has mastered the art of letting go. Each autumn, it lets its mushrooms wither and turn to dust, knowing that the mycelium below remains untouched, steady, and wise. Take a long, slow breath, and as you exhale, practice the art of the mushroom. Let go of the day. Let go of the need to be someone. Let go of the need to achieve. Just like the mushroom after the rain, your only task right now is to exist, to be present in the stillness. And to trust that the soil of your rest will provide everything you need for tomorrow. The forest is quiet now. The wood wide web is pulsing with a slow, low-frequency hum of connection. Across miles of darkness, the trees are sleeping, supported by the invisible hands of the fungi. The bioluminescent lights have dimmed, the spore clouds have settled, and the architects of the future are resting in their microscopic cocoons. Everything is as it should be. The circle is complete. As you drift toward the edge of consciousness, imagine the mycelium of your dreams reaching out, soft, white, and infinitely gentle. It is weaving a net of safety beneath you, catching every stray thought and turning it into a fragment of peace. You are sinking into the cool, dark, and fertile depth of a perfect sleep. Thank you for wandering through this hidden kingdom with me tonight. We have looked beneath the surface and found a world of wonder, a world of connection, and a world of absolute stillness. May you carry the patience of the mushroom with you into your dreams, and may you wake up feeling as renewed as the forest after a spring rain. Where knowledge meets stillness. This is the promise of the cosmos, and the promise of the soil. The story is ending, but the cycle is just beginning. Good night. Sleep deep. Sleep well, within the heart of the hidden kingdom.